We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the #1 super heavyweight champion Reddit arm wrestling podcast in the world of all time. Joined today by my lovely host, Derek Smith. Derek.
What is up, Ryan? It is Monday. We're getting this beautiful week started. This is the Pulse. I'm so excited to be here. The best super heavyweight championship show of all time. Crown it, place it, plaque it, send that off. Good to go.
We doing it. For those who are new here, quickly, what is Reddit? Reddit is a giant community forum. You can post whatever you want, but be warned, it can get upvoted or downvoted by the community. So it's kind of a crowdsourced what's going on in the arm wrestling world forum. And that's why we call it the Pulse, because we're going to take a look at the most upvoted posts for the past week, see what everyone's talking about, give our takes on it, give our insights on it. And then halfway through the show, we're going to switch gears and look at some questions that the users submit that don't get as many upvotes as the quality Devin meme, but we still care about you, our fellow Redditors. With that introduction out of the way, Derek, are you ready?
I'm super ready. I mean, by the way, if you guys haven't checked out Reddit, it's just full of super respectful, open-minded individuals who are just willing to hear your side of the story and your opinion and just move forward and learn from each other. It's a really amazing community for growth and for knowledge.
It's like being in a church or a temple or a mosque. Yeah. It's very, very respectful, very great community. So we have a running test here. Is the top post for the week going to be related to Devin Laird? I think he broke the record streak. I don't even know. It might have been every single one in a row related to Devin. Are we ready? We're going to take a look at the most upvoted post, and it is, here it is, the most impressive achievement that arm wrestling history somehow forgot. At 144 upvotes. A bit of a mystery by user Canalization Rat. What is he talking about? What is the most impressive achievement in arm wrestling history that we forgot about? What is this? Well, let's find out, shall we? Let's go down this rabbit hole. He writes, the John Brzenk challenge in 2003. It was a King of the Table challenge with 102 rounds. So King of the Table challenge, for those who don't know, you put one person on the table and everyone just cycles through trying to beat that one individual. And you just basically go until they lose or until, 102 rounds are up. So 102 pullers bid for their place in the order of who pulls first. Obviously, you want to pull later if you're trying to win because he'll be more tired. The highest bidder got the last spot. The first one to beat him got all of the money. So they pool the money from the bidders. Winner gets all of it. And so there was no incentive to bid for the last spot only, because if someone beats you before it gets to the end, well, they get all the money. So Travis, who beat Vavoda that year, Don Underwood, Tom Nelson, and Kenny Hughes pulled him 3 times each. Other world champions like Alan Fisher pulled him 2. End result, all of the $2,135 was donated because John Brzenk won all 102 rounds. Have you heard of this John Brzenk guy? Can you believe this?
I think John Brzenk, right? He's
Brzenk?
Brzenk.
Something like that.
I hear he's pretty good, up and comer. I think he has a bright future in the sport. So I'm keeping eyes out for him.
Major up and comer. This is nuts. This is insane. This did kind of fly under the radar. You almost never hear about this, even though it is on YouTube. There's a link here. If you go to reddit.com/r/armwrestling, you can follow this link and actually watch some of the footage. Yeah, like elite pullers all just lined up. I mean, they weren't all elite, but there were elites in there trying to beat John, and he just swept the field of 102 people.
That's super impressive. Have you done King of the Table stuff? Have you been the strong guy in the King of the Table?
I have. There have been a few practices where I've been that guy, but
it's challenging. I think I've got to I think we got 80 rounds in, but it was with my team and years ago when they were all new. So it was me and 7 brand new guys. So it wasn't as impressive nearly. But yeah, I mean, it can definitely take its toll on you. I don't like doing them as much because people always think because you're the big strong guy, hey, we're on King of the Table, so you lose. But I'm losing because of endurance and lack of oxygen to the muscles. I'm not losing because my fresh muscles are getting taxed or ripped open. So the workout's a little different. I don't hold a lot of value to it making someone stronger, but it's still difficult for sure, especially with those type of guys. That's gonna be super hard. I know. I bet you Neil Pickham would have a disagreement with this. He said he always talks about there's. I guess the first time Devin beat John, I think it was that time. the whole night. They said Devin arm wrestled for like 6 hours with nothing but John Brzezinski and all the guys like that, the top guys at Arm Wars, and Devin just went round after round after round, just walking through every single top guy in the world. But there's no videos of it, so I don't know. But Neil always talks about it. He says it's the most impressive thing we've seen.
That was at the hotel at Las Vegas, I think, if I recall.
Oh, maybe it was that. I'm not sure.
That was Arm Wars, yeah. That Arm Wars event. But yeah, no footage, didn't happen.
Right.
So yeah, really cool stuff. It's fun to mix it up. Like you make the king, they have to hold in the center for like 10 seconds, and then the opponent can go. So that's a better way to do it if you're that much better. All right, moving on to our next post here by user Arm Wrestling is Fun, the resident caricature artist of our subreddit. He's got a new one out, and it is titled, "This is what I think the Devin versus Dennis match will look like." There it is. Now, I would say, what's that?
It's a thumb war.
It is. Yeah, it is a thumb war. But what I wanted to note was their facial expressions are too good. Too good.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I think he's starting to get good at this.
He is, because that like kind of, corked head of Dennis looking almost confused at what's going on was exactly what he was doing all the time at the 2008 match. And then Devin just having that like stare at your face, not even looking at his hand. But meanwhile, he's making all kinds of little micro adjustments.
But it's the details. It's Devin's long nose hair. It's the lipomas on Devin's forearm. It's like the random little tattoos and stuff. Like they got the details of Devin's arm done pretty well.
And they both have chicken legs. Well, I think Dennis has nice calves. I think he did Dennis a little dirty on the calves, maybe. But yeah, well done. Well done. The art is getting better. Keep improving. And what do you know? We have another post by user PhantomasArm. This is the third most upvoted post for the week. It's Dennis 2 weeks before the match. That right looks thick right here. Yeah, it does, man. Just the circumference of his wrist is just bananas. He looks good, man. He looks ready.
Devin's gonna crush him. It's not even gonna be close. It's gonna be the stupidest match ever. It's just Devin's gonna walk through him. No point in watching, as everybody's saying. I think people are crazy, man. I mean, I still have Devin as a favorite, but Dennis is a serious threat. Way more than people think.
Yeah, we heard the same thing 2008, man. I mean, gotta respect the commitment to Devin, but he is human, and I think it's Dennis's match to lose. I mean, he's just dominated last time, so Devin needs to show up. He needs to make a statement. And if Devin does win, it's probably not going to be a walk in the park. But who knows? Maybe we'll have to delete this episode after the match happens.
That's true.
All right, moving on here. Arm Wrestling Fun with another banger. This is Matt Mask and Devin Larratt as Beavis and Butthead. So I'm trying to make this bigger for everyone. So it's Devin and Matt Mask sitting on that couch at Devin's house. There's a oil stain on the couch from all the poutine they're eating. And Matt is saying, that oil is enough to feed my whole family. And Devin's going, my legacy. This one has all kinds of little Easter eggs in it. If you look, you will. I keep coming back to this every day, and I keep finding another little gem. How does this make you feel up there?
At first, I thought that was the arm of the couch. I didn't know that was Matt's right arm and Devin's right arm.
Yes.
And Devin's is tied to a strap to his to his toe.
Yep. It's too good.
Yeah, I guess Devin's greasy couch. That makes sense.
This guy follows arm wrestling very closely to pick up on these fine details. Devin did a seminar once in Australia where he talked about the value of raising or of thumb extension once. And he said, if you're a real psycho, you'll train thumb extension. And I believe that's the exercise he's doing here. So I see you. Arm wrestling is fun. Keep it up. Keep it up. You're killing it. Moving on to oh my god, another. The subreddit loves these caricatures. So this is the Canalization Rat, which I think is Engen's way of saying a sewer rat. But it just came out that way. And he's saying enemy of the sport. And then if you follow the toilet drain all the way down, you have Bowen and RVJ arm wrestling in the sewer.
So wait, what is? I understand Bowen on the outs with Engen, but RVJ's on the outs too. RVJ's exiled.
I was hoping you knew because I didn't know that RVJ got invited to East First West. Whatever it was, 8 or whatever. He had to pull out. Yeah. For family reasons. I didn't know there was any bad blood there. I don't know if I'm missing something, but Bowen, I don't think that drama is a secret. But yeah, I don't know what RVJ is doing there. Unless that's not RVJ, I don't know. It has to be.
That has to be RVJ.
It has to be. So
It's too
yeah,
RBG.
maybe if you see this arm wrestling is fun, let us know in the comments what's going on. What's RBJ doing in that sewer? More Dennis love by Arm Wrestling is Fun. This is from Dennis's story. And yeah, what can you say?
That was a picture of me. I thought someone just put a helmet on a picture of me, and
you could get the two confused.
Yeah, we look very similar.
How tall is Dennis?
He's not very tall. I met him. I don't know exactly, but I don't think he's 6 foot. Maybe right around 5'10", 6 foot. He's not super tall.
Right. I didn't think so, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, they are peaking. They are peaking for their match. We'll probably get some Devin in here. Pro arm wrestler Austin Jaggers charged with rape and assault. Yeah, I didn't expect to read that headline. All I'm going to say about it is everyone deserves their day in court. There's going to be new evidence on both sides, and you don't want to look like an ass when we come back and view this. So until conviction, I don't really have anything to say. I don't know if you have any input, but
Austin, if you did that, what the hell, bro? Maybe it's all a giant misunderstanding. I'm gonna hope for that. I do hate how the articles are all about the arm wrestling part. They're literally quoting arm wrestling websites and saying he's ranked on armfighter.com and all stuff like, oh my god.
Yeah, they linked to armfighter.com, like they hyperlinked
they're literally really focusing on the arm wrestling part of it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good source of traffic for arm wrestling, but
yeah, I just if it ends up he's convicted and everything and it's all true, then man, I hope I don't get a phone call from Brian Shaw. Yo, you had this guy in my
oh, don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Austin, I hope this isn't true, man. I really hope this isn't true.
Yeah. Again, I hope this is. I don't know, but until all the details are out or until there's a conviction, my recommendation would be to just stay tuned. All right, next up, Gennady started training. The one from Masai posted this. So Gennady, right? He was supposed to pull Devin in a rematch, couldn't do it. Erme stepped in, and it was because Gennady tore his bicep tendon. I know it was bicep related. I'm not sure if I remember exactly what the injury was. But he's back. He's training. Love to see it.
Yeah, Gennady, honestly, I was one of the very few people, and which is ridiculous, that I thought that if Gennady and Devin had a rematch with Gennady, being healthy, I don't know how much injuries set him back. I still favored Gennady to beat Devin in a rematch.
Wow.
A lot of people were like, no, Devin would have learned. It would have been different if you would have got that call round 2 or whatever it was, that foul. It would have been, everything would have changed, yada, yada, yada. I think that Devin's kind of stuck in these two, all the way out, all the way in, right? He's that's where he arm wrestles. And Gennady kind of figured out that if you press at Devin and you make him elbow foul, the King's move's out. He will foul out if he does the King's move. So once you get that done, that kind of eliminates that. So he kind of has Devin pegged in terms of what he's going to do. So Gennady figured out Devin. Now Gennady has a ton of options. He can go everywhere, but Devin kind of sticks to these two things. So I think Gennady would just double down on getting ready for those two things. And Devin's not going to be able to make up the ground center table to suddenly be stronger than Gennady's center table after not training it for years. You know what I mean? So I just think that a rematch favors Gennady. To be honest, I think he's smart enough. I think he's capable enough pre-injury to make things happen again. But most people don't agree, and I understand that.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's interesting. Devin recently said that he's now stronger than he's ever been before. I mean, it was definitely close. Like, you have to give it that. It was a close match before, and now, I mean, obviously, Gennady's going to have a few matches to see where he's at. But, I mean, that first round, Devin was so dominant and was just, like, toying with him. I don't know if that was just a good start or what the situation was, but you're definitely in the minority saying Gennady has that. But you have to factor in the Devin fanboyism. We do have a super chat from who else? The biggest supporter of the show, Carolyn Loons, coming in. Carolyn, thank you so much. I saw you were one of the first in here. You're the best. Thank you for supporting the show. She writes, Derek, the article said he's ranked number 5 in North America about Austin. So where does that leave MMT, Monster Michael Todd, and Corey West? 1 Devin, 2 Chafee, 3 Derek, 4 MMT, etc. She's all, the rankings implication. We didn't even touch that.
So the rankings that they're citing, though, is from Armfighter. Armfighter is just America. It's not North America. And so they wouldn't have Devin on there. I think they have number 1, Dave Chafee. I haven't looked at the Armfighter rankings in a while, but it should be like Dave Chafee, Michael. I don't know if they took Mike off or not. Then Corey West should be up there. I don't think Todd Hutchings is ranked as a super heavyweight. Neither is John. And then Austin beat me, so he should have been above me after he beat me. So I don't know. I have to look at those rankings. I usually look at In the Hook rankings. I go by In the Hook rankings personally for North American rankings. But yeah, they keep quoting armfighter.com, which is just American rankings. And I know they've done some rankings, and I like armfighter.com. I send people there all the time to find teams and things like that. But I know they've done some of their rankings based on opinion. I know Chance has done that a few times recently too, though. Like Corey passed me up in armfighter rankings when he beat Krasimir from Bulgaria, and then they put him above me. So like they do some weird things that didn't kind of make sense. So it's not purely. So I don't really check those rankings as much. Chance does that too, but his are kind of more like, oh, someone's tired in a tournament and you beat him in a tournament, I'm not giving you that ranking or something like. It was something like that.
In the book is a council, right? There's like 3 or 4 people who run that, or is it just
there
Chance?
used to be? I think it's just Chance now. I think the people backed out of the council. But yeah, I haven't checked the Arm Fighter rankings in a while, personally.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Thank you so much for the support, Carolyn. For real, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Carolyn.
All right, let's go. Next post here we have Reno beats Sandris left. I believe this was from the World Combat Games. Boom.
Like that.
Let's watch that again. I need to slow it down.
And the crazy thing about this is Reno is known for pressing, like shoulder rolling and pressing, and like he's getting everything so sharp that he still has his trump card, his press, everything like that. But look, that was like a dragging hook. His wrist maintained, he dragged back on his bicep. Things are not like necessary pressing muscles, and they're on the level. So like, how dangerous is this young guy like getting? You know what I mean? With the frame and the explosiveness, like that's scary.
Right. Yeah, Sanders' wrist even looks a little compromised there. A lot of back pressure, a lot of pronation. You're right. Drag right to the back of the pad. That is a clean hit and fast, super fast. The dude's like 18, maybe 19 now. Right. I think that's what he is. But watch out, man. Watch out for this dude. Excited to see him in many more East vs. Wests. I think he's ranked 8th in the heavyweights. I don't know. I think we're going to get to the post for the East vs. West rankings. But he's making moves.
Reno versus Devin at some point. Devin cut down.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, he's prepping for it. I'm telling you. No, he's going to do Angarbayev first. Calling it right now. As soon as he's done with Dennis, he's going to make a video calling out Angarbayev to be the triple champ, maybe. So next up, we have a post from the one from Masai, and he writes, Morza Returns, East vs. West 11. Post from Engen announcing that we got Morza for East vs. West 11. So return, what is he talking about? If you guys remember from East vs. West 8, Morza pulled Georgie, but was completely emaciated. He had lost 30 pounds or something in the last week or two. He had a stomach issue. He couldn't eat. I was there. I was with him. The dude could only drink liquid. So we went out to a pizza place, this delicious pizza right near the venue, unbelievable food, tons of options. And the dude had to get a soup. And even the soup, he had a few sips of it. The dude was not well. So looks like he's on the up and up, which you love to see because he was making serious waves, man. And also only 25 years old.
I feel, but at the same time, yes, that sucks. And Morza was not in his best shape. I kind of feel bad for Georgie Svetkov because everybody immediately when they hear that match goes, Morza wasn't good or wasn't ready. Right. It's not. It takes away any of that win from George Svetkov, which kind of sucks because he's amazing. He's awesome.
It does. And I hate to do that. You're right. But in this case, it was on the more severe side. Does that mean Georgie wouldn't have won? No, he still looked amazing. He is amazing. He's Georgie freaking Svetkov. Needs no introduction. But I think Georgie said he's open to running this back. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure he's down for a rematch.
I'd love to see it. I bet you Morza would like to do it too. Run it back.
No doubt about that. So sweet. All right, let's move on to our next post here. Arm wrestling is fun with another caricature. Hermes LMAOing. Dude, he does us so dirty with the legs, man. He has no respect for arm wrestler legs.
He does. Arm wrestling legs pretty dirty.
Yep.
What's Hermes' laugh? What's his laugh sound like? Give me one, Ryan. What's Hermes' laugh?
Oh God. It's just the loudest, most boisterous.
They're like, it's kind of from low, right? It's like,
we need to lock him and Larry Wheels in a room and just have a laugh off to see who has the higher decibel rating for powerful laugh. Yeah. So fitting, well done. Did him nice on the upper body, dirty on the lower body. All right, Devin Larrett, 2 weeks out before East versus West. This is by user Best Glazard. And is there any Photoshop going on here? Or is Devin just that big?
I don't think so. That looks like Devin's forearm, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just wild. Is that like a medical bracelet on his left wrist there? Was he in the hospital recently?
Oh, no. Yeah, this is new garb. I don't think I've seen that or that white one before. Could be. I don't know what's going on with that intercostal situation, but he looks big, man. That is a turkey leg attached to that arm right there, that forearm right there. So, and again, earlier he said, was a couple days ago, that he may be the strongest he's ever been right now, 49 years old. So this is going to be a clash of giants. This is fun. This is good. Another post by user Best Glazard. The title is Over the Table versus Under the Table. And you're in for a treat.
Oh, I have not seen this.
Oh, my God.
It's like after pulling. Okay, it's not a real match. All right. It's like,
there's no, I think it might be a real match, man. Well, buckle up, everyone. This is why you should join the Reddit to see content like this. Let's get into it. The man has both his legs on the table, crisscrossed. I don't know if that's legal. I'm pretty sure there's something somewhere saying one leg has to be on the ground.
No, just when you start, one leg has to be on the ground at WF. But I don't know if your leg's about to go over the top of the table. I don't know.
Oh my God. What? Is this what arm wrestling has come to? Have we peaked as a sport? Is this it?
Is this it? A King Zoo versus on top of the table press?
Yeah. Do we shut it down? Are we just done here? But yeah, so I don't know the context here, or what country it is in. I'm seeing some foreign languages.
You're seeing some what? You're seeing some what, Ryan?
So I'm seeing some foreign languages on t-shirts. This guy, foreign for me at least. So I don't know where this is, but there you go. Thank you for that post. Kimbo, 6'9", doing side quests. So
who is that? He's arm wrestling.
I don't know, but he definitely knows how to arm wrestle, I think.
What does that say on the bottom of the screen?
Sukabliet.
Oh, okay, good. I was just wondering.
There you go.
That's a big, hairy man.
Rush B.
No idea how to arm wrestle, though.
Yeah, and look, because he was like giving tips to Akimbo at the start here, like bring your shoulder in. I thought, right? Like he's doing this. He's saying, come closer to the table. So maybe, I mean, he didn't look super good, but this is Akimbo's shtick. We see a lot of these now. People underselling themselves and then smoking the big muscular guy. But hey,
I can't do that. That's not. I got dressed up like an old man one time with a cane and I was hunched over, sitting in a wheelchair. People were still like, "Nah, I don't want none of that guy." Like, this sucks, man. I'm too big. No one ever. I can't catch anybody off guard.
You're too big. You're gonna have to pick up like ballet or something, get really good, and then have that go the opposite way with it.
Ice skating, like figure skating.
There you go.
Twirl.
Hit a triple
big man out there. Watch this. Just kidding.
Make it happen, dude. Viral content. All right, how are we doing on time right now? Almost halfway. We'll get a couple more posts in here. Another caricature of a young stud, Reno Mic. Not bad. Not his best work, in my opinion. Not bad.
I like the little medals with little flexing. Look like little snakes.
A little too heavy on the facial hair, I think. It threw me in the eyebrows a little too much, but not bad. You get the gist. All right, this is a post by user I'm a CFOP USer. He says, this is the toughest super match I've had. I'm the one in the lime shirt. So you got that?
Yeah. Let's see. Here we go.
So there is no lime shirt, but it's this guy, it turns out. It's a guy on the left, white shirt, and here we go. Let's help him out. So he's setting up pretty high. Looks like he's going for a top roll. Ooh.
Strap placement is pretty bad for you there. The other guy's committing his shoulder. Why are they not straightening out the shoulder? Referee, what are we doing here?
Gets in a hook. Dragging just does not have the horsepower. Cannot turn and palm up. Good stop there. Another good stop, and the hand goes.
Whoa.
So there's one. Maybe watch one more round here.
Oh, the high flop.
There goes the hand. Starting to get it back. Yeah, his wrist just can't really hold up. When he hits, he basically top rolls himself. Need a little more wrist flexion and a little more side pressure, a little more horsepower.
He says he ends up winning this?
What's that?
He says he ends up winning this? Or he loses?
No, he loses. But he did get that one.
Wait. What?
So it's 3-1 the other guy. Yeah.
That guy's he's tall. There's a lot of length in the guy in the black shirt. And he's using it pretty well. I mean, Dang Min doesn't have access to a lot of stuff because of the height of Quang Dat.
Yeah, we're actually going to get to a post about posting top rolling a tall guy in a little bit. We have one of those in the tank. But it looks like you are setting up really high, but then you kind of miss go there. The one round he did win, he hit him with that nice high post and top roll. But then he also seems like he wants to go inside here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely shot that hook. I guess he has options. I don't know.
The guy read it. The guy in the black shirt read that he was in a hook. He was setting up for a hook as well.
Yeah.
Trying to show the versatility.
Not bad. Definitely a strength gap. I think he's beating you on the go most of the times. And yeah, thanks for sharing this. This looks like probably like Vietnam. Lachlan's long lost brother writes, Marcus is strong. Who knows this super clean Bellator vet, Carl Etherington? At 48, he is one of the oldest pro MMA fighters. Did Lachlan's mom keep a secret from him?
I'm just saying, he looks very Lachlan-y.
There's definitely Lachlan vibes, but he's from the UK, so I don't know. I guess Australia was a colony of the UK at one point, or England. So yeah, Lachlan, we got to get you two in a room together.
Cousin or something. What if he actually is like related to him? He finds out it's like a distant cousin.
Could be, man. I mean, they both are swole. Look at that pectoral development there.
Yeah.
So, all right, halfway through the show. Okay, here we go. So here's I mentioned this earlier, the rankings for the East vs. West heavyweights division. You have Devin at the top after he beat Evgeny Prudnik. And after that, you have Sandris at number 3. And then Oleg, Marcio, Lachlan, Reno at 7. Pavlo, Matt Mask, and Brad Grundy representing.
Brad Grundy.
That's great. He goes to one event, and he's in the rankings, man. You love to see it.
If you were going to switch any of these things around, just based off just vibes, just feel, not by who beat who, what moves would you make on this?
That's an interesting question. Marcio over Oleg, maybe? I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Marcio. I feel like we don't talk about him. He's taken some L's recently, but when he's in form, man, I feel like he's just got unbelievable side. I've felt it. I've pulled him in a tournament. So
you favor Lachlan over Reno, Pavlo, Matt, and Brad?
That's another good point. Lachlan's coming off one win. So is Reno over South Africa. Why is his name escaping me right now?
Reno, in my opinion, might be up there at 5. I might put him between Oleg and Marcio.
Yeah, so Reno just put Opperman. Terrence Opperman versus Reno. Reno won that. You would put him at 5?
I think Marcio just beat Pavlo at the Knuckles Up. You know, Marcio looked really good there. Lachlan does look amazing right now, but Reno, I mean, the way he just handled Sandris, I mean,
that was left.
And he went undefeated right-handed too. But I don't think he pulled Sandris, but like,
okay.
Oh man, I don't know.
It's tough because there's only been 9 events so far, so trying to make a complete list here is a little tough because there's not been much cross-pollination. But yeah, they're giving a lot of credit to Lachlan for that win. Is that better than what Reno did against Terrence? Tough to say, but I would say watch out for Marcio if I had to pick one. I think we're due for a Marcio comeback.
If you can just keep that elbow down, Marcio is a threat. Just keep that.
Wow, you had to throw that in there.
No, traditionally he's an elbow foul guy. He gets to know him and Craig Touye, elbow monsters, tons of elbow foul. Always. That's always the thing.
You are correct. So with that, we are going to get to some training-related questions. Let's get into it. So we have a post here by Armwrestling Male. He writes, how much of a power difference is enough to be noticeable? 5 kilogram difference in wrist power, pronation, rising, and elbow flexion. Is this likely to cause enough of a power difference to be a quick victory? Or would this be more along the lines of a 10 kilogram difference? What difference in strength would be enough to cause a quick victory? Is 1 kilogram of strength differences in all areas enough? Assuming technique is very similar. You want to start?
I mean, but that's your wrist flexion fights my pronation. You know what I mean? Like there's that, right? So if you can wrist curl more than me, but I can pronate more than your wrist pressure, like so they don't go directly against each other. You know what I mean? So that's kind of hard to figure out exactly. And then you add in things like speed. You add in things like amounts of coverage one person has or doesn't have, like, and how much you can apply that said strength. It's not just like base strength makes the win happen. And so it's really hard to answer questions like this, so I don't, dude, someone can make a 3 kg difference look like a 20 kg difference, or someone, be like, it just, there's so many variables in there. That's why arm wrestling is so beautiful, that it's not possible to answer this question exactly. You know what I mean? That there's so many influences on what can make a match look a different way. So I don't know, man. I don't want to take a shot at it because it's just there's too many things that can influence what can make something look different or noticeable. Besides, and I know they put assuming technique is very similar, but even besides that, like you said, speed, hand size, genetics, so many things can influence it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I guess one way to answer this for yourself, Mr. Arm Wrestling Male, would be, if you're whatever your max wrist curl is, put an extra 5 kilograms on there and see how fast your wrist opens up. That might give you a better idea of what the difference is like, and you'll see it's pretty dang quick. In fact, if you're 1 kilogram over your max, it's probably going to go. It's not as much as you think. Like Dark was saying, my pronation is your wrist flexion. So if my pronator is stronger than your pronator, or let's say your pronator is stronger than mine, I may still crack your wrist because I'm fighting your wrist flexion. So it's not 1-to-1 comparisons, but it's not much. It's not much weight. Single-digit percentage differences can make the difference at the top level. So moving on to our next post here, we have kids in arm wrestling. Derek, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this.
Because I look so young? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right.
Yeah. Do they let you arm wrestle yet without supervision, Derek?
No.
So this is by user Armrest. He writes, hey there, I'm curious about the approach to training kids in arm wrestling in different clubs. Would be awesome to hear some/any experiences and tips. Example, what age do you typically start training kids in arm wrestling? Do you have dedicated teams for kids? Do they train with adults? Any valuable tips for ensuring safe and enjoyable training experiences for young beginners? And he goes on here, but what's your general take? Kids arm wrestling?
It's something I'm still learning about. We have kids on my team. We've always had kids on my team. Usually we always have a solid 2 of them kind of showing up. Right now we have a nice little group, but if you want to call them kids, they're anywhere from 14 down to 12, 11 years old, and they've been showing up. Generally, we give them a lot more focus, right? Our eyes are always on them. Obviously, we go over safety just like I do with adults right away. We dial that in, but the kids tend to be a little more active on the table. They try to kind of fly around a lot. So we try to keep eyes on that. Yes, of course, they want to arm wrestle each other because they're the same size and age group and they want to go at it. So I think it just takes a little more focus, just keeping an eye out on the kids. There's been other studies in terms of weight training and things like that for kids and when you should or should not start them and stunts their growth and things like that. So I don't really start focusing on that type of stuff till they're 14, 15 years old. But yeah, if they're just learning how to arm wrestle, yeah, man. I think once they understand the concept of an arm break and how to stay safe, I think kids are a little more durable than most adults, and they have a ton of fun with it. So we just keep an eye on it. That's all we can do, and just let them have fun with it, understand and embrace them falling in love with the sport and learning the different moves, understanding different techniques and counters and things like that, and then they'll follow their own track with it. So
yeah, we started a tournament with the kids going first, and always be supervised, definitely. But other than that, pretty much treat it like anyone else new to the sport, right? Kids are sponges of information, and so give them the right tips, give them the right advice just like you would anyone else, but just never let them arm wrestle alone, especially against each other. Next up, we have consensus on multi-spinner for cup strength. Devin and Todd Hutchings are big fans. How much better is it compared to narrow dumbbell wrist curls and barbell end wrist curls? So multi-spinner, it's kind of like a wrist wrench with only one strap at the top or at the bottom, and it makes it a lot less stable, right? It's much more shaky. You don't have equal force on the top and bottom of the handle. It's either only the top or only the bottom. So it's a much less stable apparatus. My general take is that should be accessory to these other lifts you mentioned, the dumbbell wrist curl and the barbell wrist curl. Because on those, you can do more weights. You can get more max top end strength with those. But with the multi-splinter, you're going to have to drop the weight, and it's going to help train stability throughout the wrist. So I think it's a great tool. I use it, and it feels more like an arm wrestling match than just doing a wrist wrench or just wrist curls, but not either or. Derek?
I disagree with everything you said. Basically a multi-spinner, the crazier handles you guys get, it just helps isolate more. That's all the handles do. Anything you do with a wild handle that you buy, you can also do with a standard gym handle you find at the gym. If you just understand where to apply pressure into the handle and how to set the handle in your hand, right? It's just, you buy some crazy ass handle and it just helps isolate these certain angles, movements for you. So once again, as always, I don't think we need to buy anything crazy at all. But for the multi-spinner specifically, when I train cupping, my cupping days, I do finger work, but after that, I do cupping high with my riser engaged, my pronation engaged, and I cup all through my index finger in this ridge. This is similar to top rolling or similar to high hooking, right? Where I'm not grabbing with my bottom two. I'm not cementing my palm to their palm as I cup in, which will make it easier for me to go palm under, right? So everything's cupped high. Now, a lot of people don't like to do this because if I do that, I rise and I pronate and then I cup, the cup is only that deep. It doesn't go super deep, right? It can't cup super hard. Now, if I supinate, chop, and then cup, it goes way flatter, right? So when you tell someone to cup, do cupping work, they like to cup with their bottom two and a little supination because then they can get the wrist way flatter. So they feel like, oh, I'm getting more of a contraction. I can go deeper with the cup. But then you're cupping on the bottom of somebody's wrist, which means you're eating into that hook. You're holding on to them a lot. You're making it easier for you to go palm up by relying on cupping through your bottom two. So I train them separate. I use a cone handle to do this, or I can do it with a standard handle and just rise up and do it. But you rise, basically take your bottom two fingers almost off the handle. So all the pressure is in this ridge, this index finger, thumb ridge. It's all up here. And then you get used to cupping high. Now, like I said, it won't go as deep, but it's very important. You get comfortable rising and pronating and cupping all pressure in the top part of your hand. That leads to so much. Just imagine, look, I got my little hand here. If I'm trying to cup someone's wrist and I start cupping high, look how far above their wrist I am. So if I'm starting to pressure way above the joint, it's way harder to stop that cup than if I'm cupping with my bottom two right on their wrist or directly above it, where it's way more solid. It's way harder to cup somebody down here. They can apply way more resistance down here than they can up here. So I know the wrist flexion isn't as deep with my index finger, but it's way higher above the wrist. So it's way easier to manipulate someone's hand by cupping them high with a high knuckle, right? Now, they can always try to flop and stuff and go out, but if you're holding on or if you have a solid foundation, then you can kind of prevent that. But yeah, so always train them separate. Train high cupping with the index finger, and then train low cupping, which is chopping and supinating to get into a hook. Train them completely separate. And then I train just pure palm cupping where it doesn't hit my fingers at all. Turn sideways away from the pulley system, so the angle is going to not into my fingers. It goes directly through my palm, and then just little partials as low as I can with flat cupping. That's how I do it. So I have all the basics covered: high cupping, low cupping. Train them separate, give them both their own love. And that's what a multi-spinner does. Sorry, back to the multi-spinner. It either targets high cupping where you have to rise and pronate against it, or low cupping where you have to chop and supinate against it. Right? So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually have a handle where you can, the strap that you attach to the carabiner, weight stack, and you can slide the strap to be shorter or longer on one side. So if you're doing cupping with it and this side's shorter, it's going to be more of those bottom fingers, or if the top strap is shorter, you're going to be hitting more of the top fingers. And Tim Bresnan told me, he's like, people don't train their bottom fingers enough, right? Like the pinky and ring finger, they always just do full hand movements, but you gotta, like you said, split it up, high cupping, low cupping. There is a difference. Don't miss it. So Next up, we have a post by user West Solution 4392. He says, "Is posting top roll convenient for short guys? I realized that I can beat people with posting top roll more than anything else. I recently faced a tall 200-pound guy, and I'm only 130 pounds and short, and the only way I could beat him was using my posting top roll. And to be honest, I was quite impressed to beat such a big guy, LOL. The thing is it convenient that I keep training this technique, or is it still more convenient to be a hooker because of my height?" And I want to answer this, but I'm afraid you're going to follow it up with, "I completely disagree." But I'm going to go for it anyway. So if you are newer, which it seems like you are, if you're asking a question like this, don't worry about it. Don't completely cater your style of arm wrestling to min-max your biological leverage advantages here and there and focus on these little things. If you are strong with a posting top roll, keep working it. Make it stronger, make it a huge weapon, and still train hooking, right? Because the idea is, if you have a long forearm, when you drag to the back of the pad, your forearm is still going to be sticking way out. Whereas if you have a short forearm, you can bring them much closer to you in a hook. There's going to be less force on your elbow, right? If you have a 20-inch forearm and there's 100 pounds of force, that's 2,000 inch-pounds of force on the elbow. If it's only 15-inch forearm, it's 1,500 inch-pounds of torque on the elbow. So there are reasons to be a hooker if you have a shorter forearm, but I feel like that's just getting too in the weeds for somebody who's new. If you're trying to push the rankings at East versus West, then yeah, you got to think about these things. But if you're winning, you're having fun with it, you enjoy it, that may be the most important thing for you right now. If you enjoy posting top rolling, don't switch it because you have or because you're a shorter guy and you have a shorter forearm or whatever. Do what works for you. You're having fun, and it's going to help you. Even if you become a hooker, there's more crossover than you think. If you only train top rolling, that pronation, that posting, that brachialis strength, that's still going to help you in a hook. So that's my take. Derek, don't do it.
Listen, right. Everything you just said. I agree, man.
Hey, we did it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you don't. Yeah, depending on how long you've been in the sport and things like that, and your goals. I agree. You don't have to subscribe to a certain move and make that everything. I mean, with a short arm, is it nice to do a posting top roll? Of course, because you can get your forearm vertical, and if you're arm wrestling me, I won't be able to get my arm vertical at the start, right? But when you start eventually at the top level, when you start facing high-end guys that know how to manipulate the refs and things like that, you start facing guys that are on some level of Devin mentally, that have long arms, who understand, like, I understand how to not get screwed with my long arm anymore, right? I understand that I can still go knuckles up, I can push into your palm. The moment the match starts, I can drive up. Like, I understand how to make it so I don't get screwed over and have to start completely angled down to someone with a short forearm. So eventually that you'll come across guys that know how to utilize their height better. And so I would think that the tightest you can get, any move that allows you to get tighter and closer to your body, the better for a shorter forearm, because you can get tighter than I can ever get. I would say something like that. If you have a small hand, did he mention his hand size? I don't think. Straps are always going to be great. Explosiveness, speed, things like that, I think will cater to you in the long run. But yeah, if you're new, man, just try them all. If you're working every muscle, then you should be strong at all of it, right? Because everybody works every muscle for arm wrestling, right? People don't only do one move on a pulley system, right? Because that wouldn't be efficient in getting good at everything. Yeah, I mean, just have fun with it for now, man. But I would think whatever gets you most tight with a shorter arm is going to be better,
Yeah. So, I mean, there's long-armed hookers, there's short-arm top rollers, and everything in between. So maybe you are one of those exceptions. Don't sweat it too much. Tom Holland, right? He's very long, lanky, nasty hook. All right, so let's move on here. Is 28 too late to start competing at arm wrestling? You missed the window.
Call it quits. Yes, just don't do it, man.
You're done. How old is too old for your prime? I know Devin and others are over 40 or 50 and they're champs, but they started when they were teenagers. Is it impossible to compete if I were to start training now? Asks user Singular Butt Slap. Derek, is he done? Is he washed up? Should he find a new chest?
Way over the hill. Yeah, dude. What do you even – I'm surprised you know how to work the internet, to be honest. No, man, not at all. Like, there's some things to consider depending on your goals and what level you plan to reach and how soon you plan to reach it. Paul Lynn, right? Started a little bit older and became amazing quick, right? So it's not that Paul had a ton of tendons and connective tissue built up for arm wrestling yet, but he had amazing work ethic and a ton of muscle, and he's very intelligent, right? And started putting in the work immediately. So the big muscle bellies and things like that will compensate for the lack of connective tissue while the connective tissue is still growing, right? So you can overcompensate by the guys that have been arm wrestling since they were 2, who have the connective tissue all built in and the tendons and things like that. You can overcompensate that with muscle and with just having like a love for the sport, being more versatile on the table. There's other ways to beat that, right? The perfect storm would be guys that are well-rounded on the table, who have been arm wrestling since they were 1, who have all the tendons and connective tissue, who also have an insane gym work ethic and are putting in all the extra work and on a ton of gear and growing exponentially strong. That's like the perfect storm, right, of an arm wrestler. And good genetics, build big hand, things like that. But most people don't have that. Nobody has it, right? So like even John never went to the gym. Imagine if John had a hardcore gym work ethic on top of everything he had, right? Nobody has the perfect storm of all the things. And I'd say the closest we have is maybe Devin right now. So yeah, and he's old. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to overcome everything because like I said, no one trains perfectly. So you just do the best you can and just tick off those boxes and be efficient. If you feel like you're starting old, I was 25 when I started. If you feel like you're starting too old, then when you get into it, it's time to check off all the boxes. You don't have time to not eat right, not sleep if you want to be at a high level soon. All right, we'll check those boxes off. Are you in the weight room? How often? Do you know what you're doing in the weight room? Do you know how to? Is your programming well? Do you have a team? How serious is your team? Is your team practicing intelligently or just wars all day? Like, start checking these boxes off and then just be efficient with your movements and your training, and you'll be at a high level ASAP if you do it all correctly, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah. Your boy here started 28 years old. So what do you know, Mr. Singular Butt Slap? Couple things. I mean, you're going to hit your prime when you hit your prime. And I think everyone's always talking about, like the last question we answered, like you're thinking about being in the East versus West. Like, arm wrestling is fun, man. The community is fun. Going to events is fun. It's a great sport. It's going to keep you active. It's going to keep you interested in the community. Who cares if you're going to miss what would have been your prime if you started when you were 8 years old? What does it matter, man? Go worry about winning a local tournament, in which case you are fine at 28 years old. You know, I feel like this guy's like, well, either I can become the number 1 in the world or it's not even worth trying. Why is that the binary? Just arm wrestle, dude. I don't care if you're 55 years old and doing it for your first time. I don't care if you're 70 years old. It's a good time, man. Just do it. It doesn't matter if you end up making it to the top or not. Don't think like that. Don't be putting that kind of stress on yourself early. Do it, have fun, and you're going to get better. And who cares when you peak? And to be more specific, like, you can be at your strength peak at 35 years old, which is 7 years from where you are now, which is plenty of time to get where you need to be. So even if you're like, I'm only going to do arm wrestling if I become number 1 in the world, you can still do it. Like Derek said, look at Paul Lynn. So you're fine on both fronts. A, don't sweat it. Just have fun and focus on one goal in front of the next. And 2, if you are dead set on being the GOAT, you can still do that. So this post, rice bucket training routine. Recently made a rice bucket. Anyone got a workout routine for it? I'm trying to get thicker and rougher hands. I know a man who always has a rice bucket nearby. Derek, don't make me look dumb.
The rice bucket.
There it is.
always got the rice bucket here. So when I'm doing rice bucket stuff, one, I think it's great for therapy. If you do hurt your wrist or anything like that, it gives consistent resistance in all the motions you put in your hand. When I'm doing the rice bucket, one, like, I'm doing it for health in the wrist, and I'm doing it for hand size to blow up my thumb, try to get it bigger. That's pretty much the reasons I use a rice bucket. So when I'm doing it, one, I'll do like pronation, and I'll drive my thumb to the base of my pinky. So I'm doing that over and over again, right? For however long I can do it till it blows up and I can't do it no more. And then the other one is I'll do supination, and I'll be driving my thumb up towards the top part of my hand, which flexes all up here on the top part of your hand, right? So because I'm doing it for size in my thumb, that's the main reason I'm doing it. And if I'm injured, just to get the mobility, I'm supinating and pronating, and then I'm moving my thumb in different directions as I'm doing it, and then just chopping up those 2. Now I'm sure we can find a more hardcore specific program to get better at it. That's how I do it, which checks off the goals I need it for, what I'm using it for. But yeah, I mean, because generally you got to think about hand size and what your goals are. I mean, preferably you'd want thin here, a thin palm, thin hands, long, or thin fingers, long, so you can get tight to people. You can really get a lot of coverage, but a thick ass thumb so they can't get coverage on you, right? Is the goal. But the thicker you get your fingers and your palm, the less coverage you have on them at the same time, right? So because your hand will be so thick, you won't be able to get around the back of their hand too much. So that's the goal. Like Devin has it. He has this like eerily skinny palm fingers, right? But his thumb and everything is getting a lot bigger, so it's harder to get a hold of him if you're trying to control him, which is the goal, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, just drive that thumb in, drive the thumb up, pronation, supination. That's it. You can add like rising and stuff in there as well as you're doing it, just to get consistent pressure and just alternate it. That's what I do.
Yeah, there you go. It's not a part of my routine, but that's probably something I should fix sooner rather than later. It's not a very expensive apparatus, so no excuse. That kind of leads us into this next post by user PhantomasArm. He writes, 3 most important arm wrestling lifts. What are the 3 most important arm wrestling lifts you guys would recommend? We've done 1 before on this show, but what about 3? Let's put some thought into this here. So what are our prime movers in arm wrestling? You got your brachialis, which is the primary elbow flexor. You have pronation, right? Pronator teres, very important. Wrist flexion. Are those the big 3? But riser is now kind of making a push thanks to Devin Larry. He thinks that's perhaps the most important thing, a shift from his old position where it was cupping or bust. So 3 arm wrestling lifts. I'm going to start here by saying neutral grip pull-ups, right? That's going to be a lot of brachialis. It's going to be a lot of lats, so it's going to help you drag. So neutral grip, that's the position you're starting in arm wrestling. As it's always my take, you want to approximate the activity that you are training for as much as possible. So start here, pull yourself up. If you can at the top, go out and in. But if you're heavy like me and Derek, you might have a harder time with that than if you're Ron Klembo, who weighs 160 pounds. That's number 1. Do you agree, or what's your number 2? I need a minute here.
Yeah, I I'm a fan of neutral grip pull-ups, so that was always my first one for a compound movement. Get you better using the straps, utilizing all your muscles together. It also is hitting the necessary muscles that are really conducive to arm wrestling. So I think neutral grip pull-ups, great.
Okay, so that one's done. We're locking that in. The official Pulse lift rankings, neutral grip pull-ups, number 1. Number 2, this is where it gets a little dicey. We have some options here. I'm inclined to say high cup multi-spinner. Is that crazy? Am I biased because we were talking about that?
Boy, that's where I was going. Nice. All right.
Are we 2 for 2? You agree?
High cup multi-spinner, hitting pronation, rising, and cupping at the same time, right?
Wow. Okay. So we have our official top 2, but this man wants 3. He's very greedy. Asking a lot here, PhantomasArm. Number 3.
Oh, let's see where we're at. Let's see, Ryan. I don't know if you're thinking the same train of thought I'm thinking. All right. So we got the posting pressure, we got hand, wrist, pronation. At some point we got to pin, we got to drive sideways. We might need some endurance. We need some things.
Oh, I'm torn between like some kind of belt over the knuckle riser, some more posts, and like a JM press. Shout out to Todd Hutchings. I'm gonna go JM press.
Yeah, right. Woo! That's what I was saying, man. Hey, that's what I was going, because we got the rising. I'm not saying these are the best lifts to isolate each thing, but he kind of checked off a lot of boxes. And I think the JM presses are going to work because that's your pronator fully contracted. It's going to develop the elbow. It's going to develop the triceps so for some balance on the arm. Moving the humerus will hit your chest a little bit. So I think that's a great little mix of 3 lifts if you had to choose 3 lifts. And outside pulling is more efficient and everything. It'll cover more boxes and get you ready for on-table application, I think. So I agree. I love those 3 lifts. I think that's the 3 I was picking.
Yeah, for those listening, JM presses, I mean, Todd Hutchings, I feel like we should credit him for bringing that into the scene. You can just go on YouTube and type in JM press. The man himself, JM, I forget what his actual name is, but he demonstrates it. So you can get a perfect onboarding into how to do JM presses. It's also going to condition the crap out of your inner elbow and a very similar feeling as side pressure. So definitely throw that in no matter what, top 3 or not. All right, move on here. We got a post here saying, A post from Chocolate Milk Atlas. We may have just answered this question. Let me read it here real quick. He writes, as a beginner, what should I strive for and focus on? I see videos of belt rising and pronation and cupping and multi-spinner and hammer curls and wrist curls, etc. What should I be striving for to be competitive in arm wrestling? Are there strength standards that one should reach? Not sure if I'm overcomplicating it or not. Well, we just gave you 3, buddy. You got 3 good ones there. I would say, as a beginner, focus on table time as much as possible. I didn't hear it mention that. That is always going to be my answer to that question. Table time with somebody who's knowledgeable. And then there's always people like, oh, there's no clubs near me. What do I do? Start the club. Start the club. Every single club had some person one day saying, crap, I need a club. I'm going to start it. Be that guy. I promise you, people love this stuff. They'll at least come and try it out. No one's going to say no. But yeah, on top of those 3 lifts, I would say priority table time once a week. Is that enough, Derek? Once a week, twice a week? What do you do?
I mean, yeah, starting off once a week is fine. If you can handle more, I think it's about approaching table time and being healthy when you're new. So however soon your arm is healthy enough to get on the table, that often. You know what I mean? Do it that often. And so that's how I tell my new guys to say your number one priority right now is to come back next Sunday feeling great. And if you're great by Wednesday and you can get some lifts in on Thursday, Friday, cool, because we practice on Sundays, then cool, get a couple of days of lifting in. But I want you coming in feeling close to 100% each Sunday so we can have good work, good table work, and not have to limit ourselves. I think that something that doesn't get talked about a lot is what you're touching on about starting your own team. I know this is kind of off topic a little bit, but people starting your own team shouldn't be as scary as you think. Getting a table, you basically need to find one person, preferably to start it with, one homie to get with. Get a table and get it in front of people, right? So the easiest thing is to take a table, go to your nearest restaurant, brewery, anywhere that serves food that gets people there, and say, what's your slow night? Wednesday? Okay, cool. Hey, business, on Wednesday, I can guarantee I'll bring 5-6 people. We'll eat and drink, we'll hang out, and we'll start arm wrestling here. Preferably, it'd be nice if they hold your table there at the place. But then you go there, you practice, people eating and drinking, you're like, oh, what's this? They're going to ask questions. I have a nephew who's kind of into this. Cool. Now we start networking. You go, oh, yeah, tell them to come next time. And you preach safety, and it slowly starts growing. They bring their cousin, they bring their friend, they tell their girlfriend, who tells their brother, like all the things, and it starts piecing together. Eventually you get another table, and the team starts growing like that. Now, the most important thing you can do as a captain or someone starting the team is just build knowledge, right? You're going to mess up. You're going to teach the wrong thing every once in a while. It's going to happen. You're still a human. But you, as a captain, just keep expanding your base of knowledge of understanding how to teach people, what words to use so they can understand it, what safety is, really understand how an arm break happens. That's the number one thing, is making sure these people feel comfortable that they're not going to get hurt and that their loved ones or their friends that they bring along are not going to get hurt, right? So 10 years on my team, we never had an arm break. Nobody on my team's ever had an arm break. Love it. I give them the same speech for 10 years to everybody, right? So thank God we avoided that. But I think that's the most important thing. They can feel at home and not feel unsafe. Build this community local to you where it's a bunch of yeses, meaning like there's not a lot of reasons for people not to go. Okay, you can show up this place. Oh, is it 21 over because he's 19? No, it's not 21 over. Oh, I'm hungry. Is there a place to eat? Yeah. Can I bring the kids? We got the kids there. Yeah, you bring the kids. We're thirsty. Oh, there's drinks. Oh, we want to drink beer. Okay, there's beer too. Like I just try to put in places where there's not many no's. It's all yeses. So there's no excuses to not show up to practice this week, right? There's all unlimited reasons to go. That's why I always try to, whenever I think of where we're going to host practice, I don't want to host practice at a gym. Why? Are we going to be hitting sets in between each table time? No, right? Practice on Sunday is about getting people there and screw all their excuses. So we have at my grandma's house, there's dogs around, there's people bring food, potluck, there's kids everywhere running around, everybody brings their kids and stuff. Totally great. And we all get to arm wrestle as much as we want for as long as we want. So I think building a foundation like that is super important, and just try to get it in front of people. But that does not have anything to do with this post. It just reminded me, because no one really talks about how to start a team. Is it that difficult? It's really not, guys. It's really not nearly as difficult as people think. So.
Yeah, I would add to that, the ArmBet app has a map of all other ArmBet app users in your area. So that's a great place to start. Find someone in there and be like, hey, you want to just come over? You and me, we'll do some arm wrestling, and then you invite them, et cetera, et cetera. So it's easier than ever. And we have a man on the show who has done it. So there you go. There's one more thing as a beginner that you should strive and focus on that we didn't touch on, and that is getting yourself some swag from the AW Switch. So if you want to look the part and let everybody know you can whoop their butt in arm wrestling, head on over to the awswitch.com. This is Derek's project, guys. Look at, fresh. Oh, the trucker hat, dude. If you want to get yourself one of those, support Derek, support the show, support arm wrestling.
The new one versus the old one that you normally wear. Look at the salt stains on this one. I had to get a new one for myself.
People walking around, Under Armour hats, whatever. Why not wear something that supports your boy Derek? Check it out. The AW.
Yeah, you guys use discount code AW Derek. Ryan, I got to get you a discount code on the site.
Yeah, this is whack, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We gotta get you one.
Right? How many times? What is that? Episode 26. I probably shouted this out 26 times. And I don't even have my own discount code.
Well, I just gotta get it. It's easy to make. It takes 10 minutes. We're just gonna do it.
There you go. So yeah, and that's the show today. If you're watching right now, it's on my channel. If you want to help me out, hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and next week we do this every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central Real Time, and it's going to be on Derek's channel next time. So go to YouTube, and it's AW Derek is Derek's channel. Next week we'll be over there. He also does a live every Wednesday. So thanks for watching, guys. Derek, any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, thanks for everybody for hanging out, guys. If you could share this, we're really trying to get the show off the ground, a little bit still, even though we're, a bunch of episodes in. If you guys can share it on Facebook, your YouTube, whatever, tell your grandma about it, whatever it is to help spread the word. I'd appreciate it, because I really do think the layout, not a lot of shows are talking about anything besides the normal drama. And I love that we're able to talk about what the community is talking about and get to training topics and real questions that arm wrestlers have, so we can help people grow and learn. People that do watch the show, I've been getting a ton of compliments, and thank you so much for all the support, guys. But yeah, so it'll be on my channel. If you guys aren't subscribed to Ryan's channel and you're here, that's weird. Subscribe. You're on his channel right now, so hit the subscribe button, and we'll be on mine. So we switch off every week. But yeah, and I have a lot of faith in this show, and I think it can do well, especially if the ball gets rolling. We'll try to have guests for you guys. Sorry, it's my fault. We should be having more guests. I need to start scheduling more people for this, and we're gonna get some more people on here for you guys. 100%.
Yeah. Derek's more famous, so it is his fault. What could I possibly do? So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I think either Aussie Arm Wrestler or Uncle John's going to be live after this. Head on over there, tell them we sent you. Get some more arm wrestling action in on your Monday evening. So thanks for tuning in, fellas. Again, next week we'll be over at Derek's channel.
And ladies, Carolyn, thank you.
Carolyn, always. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.